afternoon. Welcome to the TheoTRADE afternoon video. I'm Blake Young. Today is March 12th, 2026. Now we're going to start today talking about crude and energy for just a minute, but more to make the case for the next opportunity outside of energy. I do want to point out a couple things. We talked about this spike and this recovery and this correction. We went all the way up to 120, fell all the way back down to 76, and we're on the way back up. Now I've been talking about this in the main room and in the futures room that I still expect oil to continue to hold up and climb. But it's more than just this. One of the things I keep saying is that energy stocks, energy companies do not need oil to go higher for them to gain and make more profits. If they do, it's only going to accelerate, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Energy is pushing to their previous highs. We're not anywhere close to the previous high in crude, but as you can see, we made a new high in energy today. Now it is getting into the overbought zone, but again, they do not need, the energy stocks do not need oil to go back above 100 for them to be at peak margins and profitability over the next months, quarters, and even years. So this move in energy could be sustained for some time. I still like the energy stocks, and I'm not going to take any time today looking for new energy stocks because we've covered it multiple times in the past couple of weeks. However, I do want to talk about what that impact is on consumers. We've talked about consumers being stretched. We talked about inflation hurting consumers. But the number one area that I think the next opportunity is in is if oil and overall costs and inflation remain high, then we should be looking at consumer finance companies as opportunities to short or sell. Now, let's walk through a couple of things, and we'll start with the top level financials, XLF. Now, XLF is including banks. It's including a lot of different instruments, but as you can see, we peaked out at 56. We've reversed down to 48, which is greater than 15% decline. And in that move, we've gone just this year to a 12-month high and a 12-month low. Today is the breakout to a new low, and we're still seeing pressure push to the downside. So financials are weak. I've been talking about being bearish financials for a while as well. But digging in a little bit deeper, focusing on those that are going to be the most hit by consumers being overstretched and defaulting are going to be those that do not have the same backing or assets behind it. And I'm going to go through a few of these, starting out with Capital One Financial. It looks almost identical to financials. Record high, record low for the year, and year to date, we're at the lowest level. 12 months, we're at the lowest level, and we're still seeing selling pressure today. Now, timing a trade on that, we'll get into the details here momentarily, but I'm going to go through a couple of others purely from the charts, and then we'll get into the analysis of the options. Affirm Holdings. This is a company that doesn't have any collateral behind what they lend. And you can see that today is breaking down below the lower Bollinger Band. It is selling off, and we're on track to get higher than normal volume on a significantly down day of more than 8%. I believe this will be an acceleration that we will at least get back down to this low, and I'm looking for another 15% drop in Affirm Holdings. Now, Ally is like Capital One Financial. They actually do have assets like cars and other things that they lend against, so there's always the ability to recover some of that in Ally and Capital One Financial. But Capital One Financial is cars and credit cards, so there's a lot of still unsecured debt here as well. You can see the gap down close up today, came down and hit a previous low, identical kind of to the XLF financials, and we're seeing that test of the low and a gap up. So this is not the one that I want to lean into heavy short yet, but watch for a bounce and then fade the rally. Same thing with Capital One Financial. But the next one, we've already talked about Affirm. Let's talk about Klarna. Klarna does not have any assets they lend against. This is the company that, as I jokingly say, you can put your burrito through Uber Eats or Dash on a buy now, pay later program. And that is true. Klarna will actually finance Dash orders. So Klarna really doesn't have a lot of assets, and today looks like that bearish trade for me as well, because we're after earnings, we've recovered whatever we're going to do, and today is a lower high, lower low, and a breakout. I like this trade short. The problem is it's a stock that's under $15, so we have to look at the options specifically to see where the real advantage is. Now I'm going to go through these in order that we just looked at the charts. Starting out with Capital One Financial. Capital One Financial has a current IV percentile ranking of 39%. that means that we're not necessarily looking to be a long put trader, but probably want to collect some premium on this with an in-out spread or a short call vertical. As we're getting into that space between 35 and 50, we'll run both calculations. If we look at this for just the 3 to 4 week time period, what we're going to see is a little bit higher implied volatility for 3 weeks. We'll start with that, and we're going to look at the options associated with this trade. Now, we're going to go with a delta near 30 to 40. That's this one. The spread's a little bit wide right now, but I would be looking for the 185 by 190 as far as a short call vertical. That means that the price would have to rally from 178 to 185, which I don't think that's going to happen, especially where it's down $4 today. And if we can get the spread to fill, we're getting paid $1.50 for a $3.50 or $5 wide spread. That means we're risking $3.50 to make $1.50. We're about 50% return. And if we analyze this trade, we're going to right click, analyze the trade. You'll see that we need to be right 67% of the time, or we are going to be right 67% of the time here, and we need to be right 70% of the time based off that premium. So we don't really have an edge. It's a reasonable price to pay a 3% differential there. But that also tells me to take the time to look at the long put strategy. And looking at my version of an in-out spread, buying the 190 put and selling the 165 put, puts us in an $11.50 debit, potentially, for something that's going to be $25 wide. This actually puts us in a better situation. If we analyze the trade here, assuming we can get that fill, and we focus on the break-even of the in-out spread, $11.50 versus $25 says we have to be right 46% of the time, and this says we're going to be right 53% of the time. So the in-out spread, or the 190 long put versus the 165 put for Capital One Financial, is an expensive stock, but that sets us up for a statistical edge in our favor to trade Capital One Financial lower. And we have better than 50-50 odds, and we only need to be right 46% of the time. So this one looks pretty good. Let's go to Affirm next. AFRM. You'll note that it has a 32% implied volatility. That means we will just start with the in-out type spread, and we're going to buy, let's do a month on this one. We're going to buy a delta near 70, that's the 53, and we want to collect at least the $1.60 and sell a delta out of the money and collect that premium as well. So this is going to give us a $8 spread for $4.90, which tells us we need to be right 61% of the time. Analyze this trade on Affirm, set slices to break even, and we have to be right 58% of the time. So again, that's a 3% edge against us. If that's the case, we're going to run the numbers to see what it looks like to sell. And the numbers here just aren't going to give us the spread, so we wouldn't be able to take that trade. It might be able to fill, but the probabilities are roughly the same. So Affirm is going to wait until we have a better setup. Now we go to the next one, which was Ally. And Ally is a 42% implied volatility. Ally does not have weekly options, so the only thing we can work with is selling 36 days. If we're trying to sell, we want to sell a delta between 30 and 40. We could go to 36 and sell the 36 delta, sell the 39 by the 40 for 30 cents. That means we have to be right 70% of the time. You'll see this one as well. Analyze trade, set slices is fairly priced, at least in this current situation, where we have to be right 70% of the time, and we are right 70% of the time. I prefer these certainly over overpaying, but this is just telling you that it's a fair price opportunity. Works a little bit better than the long put. Let's check one more. So I like Ally, but I'd have to sell the call vertical on this and make sure you get filled at least 30 cents. Let's look at Klarna as our last one. Now, Klarna is a new stock this year. It had its IPO earlier this year and is way down from its IPO. And it's a stock under $15. So even if I wanted to sell it short, because I don't want to deal with the options on a stock under 15, you can see it's hard to borrow. Hard to borrow means that you're not going to be able to just sell the stock short. So we have to deal with the options. And so to deal with the options here, what we'll start with is let's go with buying the delta near 70. And we'll do that with this 73. We'll buy in the money. And then we're going to sell out of the money and make sure we're getting paid that 57.5 cents, which we'll do by doing the 14. So that means it has to drop $1 to get to max gain. It's $5 wide and 360. Let's analyze this trade for the probabilities. If we look at the probabilities, set slices to break even and go out to the expiration. If we are paying 360 on a $5 wide spread, we need to be right 72% of the time. This is not going to work. So I can't do the in-out spread. There's just not enough money in there to make it worth my while. Selling the call vertical, then we go the opposite side and we sell at the money. I prefer to go below 40, but this is not going to pay us enough money. So we do the 44 delta, sell the 16 and buy the 17, saying I don't think we're going to go back up. If we can collect the 37 cents, this one changes the result. Here, if we can get the 37 cents, we have to be right 63% of the time, and the break even for Klarna is 67%. So every one of these that normally I would look for one side or the other is kind of setting us up for the opposite trade, and I don't mind that. It's worth the time to go through and calculate your risk reward and your probabilities on any trade you're setting up to determine whether it's a fair price or, well, let's say call it a normal market price of 3 to 5% differential. That just means you're paying the market maker. 0% means it's a super fair price. You're not even paying the market maker for the spread based off probabilities. Anything that puts an edge in your favor is something that I'm interested in doing, like Klarna here on the short call vertical. So all of these set us up to be able to look for opportunities to continue to benefit from the consumer being stretched. If you think oil prices are going to stay where they're at or go higher, and if you understand anything about the last few times that oil prices have spiked, you know that oil prices spike, gas prices go higher, and they do not fade overnight. They could maintain this high price, which will impact the consumer and the other spending of consumers for the foreseeable future. So all those companies that have lent to those consumers without assets especially are going to be your best opportunities to fade or go short, or in this case, take bearish type trades into options. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.